Do you want to know how to keep from getting screwed over whenever it comes to personal finances, or really anything else for that matter? I want to talk about what I call the pocket test. So, what is the pocket test? In short, the pocket test is a quick test that you can use in order to make sure that you understand what you're putting your money into before you do it. And this is also a great way to uncover underlying systems, processes, and incentives for other people to try and get your money into their pocket. In the most simplest form, the pocket test is really just understanding how money makes it from your pocket to somebody else's pocket. Now, here's the catch though. It's sometimes really difficult to understand exactly how somebody across the table from you trying to sell you something actually gets paid. And later on, I'll talk to you about an example of how this actually helped me avoid getting into a bad situation. So, the basic idea behind the pocket test is you really want to understand how money gets from you to somebody else. Nobody, and I mean nobody, does things for free. And even if it is free, there is some kind of incentive, there's some kind of benefit to them. So even me making this video, I get satisfaction out of getting content out of there, and I like really enjoy seeing subscribers and other things like that. And so that makes me feel good, and so that's a form of payment to me. My point is, everybody has some kind of dominant buying motive for what they're doing. And so you need to help uncover what that is. And the pocket test is the easiest way for me to understand that and the easiest way for me to explain how to do that. So here's what you do. You just literally draw it out on a piece of paper. One side have your pocket, on the other side have their pocket, and then you need to make boxes and connect the dots in between there and there. And this could be literally as simple as if you were buying a good or service, then you literally are going to have basically a box in the middle like, hey, I'm going to buy this cup of coffee. Okay, well, I know that my money goes from my pocket into the cash register, and then I get a cup of coffee and they get the profits from providing that coffee. That's pretty simple. But financial services can be much more complicated. And this can be really, really confusing, especially if you don't understand like the basics of how stock markets work and how bonds work and how investment companies get paid. Okay, so in the example I talked about earlier, this was actually a case of a financial advisor, we'll call them loosely, but this person in the financial services that came to me and basically said, hey, I'm gonna help you manage your money and all this, and it's completely free to you, all that. And so luckily I was curious enough, smart enough, I don't know, whatever, but either way, I asked them the question, like, very simply, how do you get paid? Because I know nobody does anything for free. Like, there's no free lunch. And like, I know you have a family, you have to provide for them. So how does my money make it from my pocket into your pocket? And then that's when the tap dancing started. They really couldn't or wouldn't articulate exactly how they got paid. Now, back then, I didn't understand any of that stuff either. And after talking with my wife, we just decided, hey, look, we don't understand how they're getting paid. Like, they're obviously getting paid somehow, but like, just something seems off. Like, if I can't understand how our money's making it from us to them, then we shouldn't do it. And that was a great call because knowing what I know now, that they're actually a very well-known financial services company, and they are known for putting people into Class A loaded mutual funds and selling them very expensive life insurance products. It wouldn't have been a simple like, okay, like I said in the coffee example, to where like, hey, I give them money, they give me coffee, they get to keep the money. This is much more nuanced as far as how they get money. And so really, what they wouldn't say is that they were on commission. And so any person that they got to invest with them, they got a cut of that commission fee. So that front load, so if you're not familiar with what a loaded mutual fund is, basically you pay an upfront percentage of what you put in there. So usually like 5% is pretty typical. So you pay 5% right up front. And then in theory, you would get, lower expense ratios. But even in these funds that this company puts people in, most of the expense ratios are still like 1% or more. And so like you're literally paying like very expensive, compared to the TSP, which is like the expense ratios are like 0.06% or 0.04% for a lot of funds. And so huge difference. And so like they get a commission off of that and a recurring commission every single year. But then he didn't say that. He didn't tell me that. And then they also have these other things like 12B1 fees, which are like marketing fees, which seems ridiculous, but they charge that on top of that. And so there's all these different places where they get a little bit of money, but it's not really, it's not well advertised, and it's not like really clear to the individual person, like how much money, like in dollars, you're actually paying. And so, if you walk through the pocket test, and I'll put it up on the screen here for you to see, like if you walk through the pocket test on this, like I was going to have a lot of different little tiny streams of income that were just going to be slowly siphoning money away from me. And really, like the services that they provide are not worth what I would be paying. And, there are, financial services companies that do provide great service for, for even lower fees. But, those people are much more transparent and things like that. So, so if you are looking for a financial advisor or something like that, definitely look for an MQFP, look for somebody that's with the MFAA, the Military Financial Advisors Association. Like those are the people that I know are going to treat you well. But they're the opposite of what this guy was. Like this guy was really, really like, leveraging his military connection very hard, using his rank, and schmoozing me, bought me breakfast, all that kind of stuff. And, was going to be putting me in investments that were really expensive. Bottom line, the pocket test saved me from being in bad investments with a bad company. And instead, I went and learned on my own, and now that's actually come to fruition of what you see here today. And so the pocket test is something that you can use in everyday life, and I think it's really valuable to think about that, especially whenever it comes to things that are given to you and told you are free. And so we get marketed to all the time, and we get sold stuff that we really don't need all the time. And if you just take a few minutes to run whatever it is through the pocket test to understand exactly how your money makes it from your pocket into whatever good or service and then into the salesman's pocket, I think it will reveal a whole lot about what their underlying motivations are, what the product actually is. And if you can't understand how the money makes it from you to them, then you probably should just walk away, or you should go and at least get advice from somebody else. And so there's free resources, like you've got the personal financial counselors on post, and there's just tons of people that you can reach out to. And even like you can reach out to me, you can find me on enlistedmoney.com, and you can send me a note there. To wrap things up, I just want to say you need to understand where your money's going before you start investing or before you start engaging with financial services companies. And the pocket test is one of the easiest ways I can explain to somebody to tell whether or not it's a good deal or not. There's a ton of people out there that want to get their hands on your paycheck that you work so hard for. And I want to make sure that you are getting value for the money that you're giving them, because that's your hard-earned life energy converted into dollars, and it shouldn't be squandered, and it should be something that is going to bring value to your life. And last but not least, if you found value in this, make sure to subscribe so you can continue to get more for enlisted, by enlisted personal finance content and stay informed about your military benefits and how to get the most out of your money.